Hiya! Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is Michael Schwan, and welcome to the stream. Today is Sunday, July 17th, 2022. What is the plan for Sunday? Well, we're actually only going to do one reaction today at the start of the stream, but it's going to be a long one because we're going to be checking out everything surrounding Sonic Frontiers. I've not actually seen anything about the game outside of a couple little GIFs and screenshots on Twitter because that's pretty hard to avoid. And then, of course, I've heard some of the things going around in one way or another. And so with that said, the plan today is to check out Sonic Frontiers and then start our next game after we completed A Plague Tale: Innocence on Thursday. And we will be starting up Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice today, which will be kind of in that same vein, you know, of a game that is a double-A experience, as they describe it. Really high quality, good graphics, good gameplay, but not as long. We played through A Plague Tale, and it was only about 10 hours, and we're looking at about 8 hours to get through Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice before its sequel approaches. Well, we don't actually have a release date for it. It could be later this year, it could be early next year. We still don't actually know, but given that it's already halfway through July, I'm thinking it's going to be sometime next year. But it does have a sequel approaching, and I've been interested in the game before. I did a YouTube video on it where we played through the first 30 minutes of it, and now we're actually just going to properly play through all of it. In terms of what is coming in the future, so in 1 week from today, we'll be having a special stream where we play all the way through a game. In this circumstance, you get to decide the game. If you do exclamation point vote, it'll give you a link to some additional details, including a link to the Discord server, where you can vote on what game we are going to be playing. There are 4 options available to you, which are Dino Crisis, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Parasite Eve, and the first Spyro the Dragon game. Currently, Parasite Eve is winning, as just a heads up on what we're looking at on that. Additionally, we were going to start Metal Gear Solid 3, but that is a community request, and Metal Gear Solid 3, we want to make sure that the person who requested the game is at least available for most of it, and especially doesn't miss the very beginning of it. Speaking of, hello, Real, welcome in. Parasite Eve better win. It's winning so far. It's also the game that I prepped the emulator for, so if it doesn't win, that means I have to do additional work. And yeah, so that's the plan. Check out Sonic Frontiers, play some Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That game we should actually probably get through in the entirety of it this week. We'll play it today, Tuesday, and Thursday, and that should be enough time to finish the game because it's a pretty short experience. So, the sooner we get started, the sooner we can start, you know, doing things. So, let's go ahead and get Stream Raiders started first, though. I'm also going to open up my wife's Stream Raiders so that she can place in the battles because she is currently sleeping. Got that there. So we have a skin chest here and a token chest here. Yeah, alright. Bombers, archers, and mages still. Bomber. Want to get bigger there? It's like, no, I'm good. There it goes. Alright, place your units, everybody. Now we'll get started on this part. Okay, so these are reactions. We do these at the beginning of the stream. We do these live on stream because it makes for a more interactive and dynamic experience, both for ourselves as the content creator, as well as for something for us to do as a community, and it can make for a more dynamic discussion for people to watch and interact with later on YouTube. The way that these work is that I will read an intro off of my head, we will check out the trailer, we'll talk about the trailer. When it feels like everything is starting to wrap up or it's just time to go, I'll read an outro, we'll make faces. Face gets used in the thumbnail, and that's the way that it works. We're going to be checking out a lot of trailers today. We're only doing one, and that's because I need to get rid of this. We're going to be checking out everything surrounding Sonic Frontiers, which I've not seen most of everything surrounding Sonic Frontiers. So, with that in mind, we will get properly acquainted with this game. The very first thing that we're going to watch is the only thing that I've seen. I realized I needed to prep like the audio levels and stuff on them. Okay. Let me get a nice big sip of coffee. It's hard because it's hot. Reset the mouth with some water. Tell that to calm down for a moment. And let's go. All right. I've heard a lot of things about this. I spotted JoJo coffee cup. Yeah! You expected a cup of coffee, but it was me, Dio! That was one of my Father's Day presents from my wife. And hello, Fee. Welcome in. Ow! Ow! Look how good it looks, Fee. Yeah. Look how good it looks. It looks great. You're amazing. All right. Let's check out a bunch of Sonic Frontiers crap. Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwan, and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are looking at Sonic Frontiers, and I mean all of it. I have avoided seeing anything about this game. Now, I've not avoided everything about this game, okay? Because I don't know if that's possible unless you just don't ever touch the internet in any capacity. So, I have seen a couple of like small little GIFs on Twitter, a screenshot here and there, and then a lot of discourse surrounding it. I've seen people be like, man, this looks like an Unreal Engine tech demo. This looks like shit. I've seen Breath of the Sonic going around. I've seen people being like, it's not that bad. And then like apparently the trailer for the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, which can we talk a moment for the fact that Sega got placed in the Mini Partner Showcase? Nintendo straight up said, Sega does what Nintendo don't, huh? And just put them down at the bottom of the pack. Just be like, you're one of our mini partners. If you were a real developer, Sega, you would have gotten your own Direct the way that Monolith Soft and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 did. Anyway, so that aside. But then the game was also available at Summer Games Fest, and we saw a lot of trailers around Summer Games Fest, and we're gonna see some today that I've not seen yet. But I listened to the recently launched Friends Per Second podcast that has Skill Up, Jake Blandino, and a couple of other people on it. It's like one of the I don't remember her name because she's not a YouTuber. She's just one of like the lead people that's at like GameSpot or something like that. And then you got Jake Blandino, who's with Game Ranks. He's the guy that I'm sure you've seen his YouTube thumbnails of before you buy, and he's got his hands out. Skill Up, who's an Australian video game reviewer, and then the Completionist, whose also name escapes me, but he completes games and then reviews them. They have a podcast, right? They just launched a podcast called Friends Per Second, and one of the first things they talked about was Sonic Frontiers. And they had wildly different experiences with playing the demo when they were all at the Summer Games Fest. Skill Up hated it. Everyone else was like, I thought it was actually really good. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. And then people started to feel a lot better about the game after seeing the trailer at the Nintendo Switch Direct. And I was like, all right. I still don't know. So we'll just find out for ourselves. I grabbed everything. We will go ahead and start from the very beginning. It's only 30 seconds. This is the cinematic trailer that launched during the Sonic Central event back in 2021. But we're just going to go on the full journey, all right? Going to go on the full journey. So, a question, though, if anyone can answer it. I actually still haven't seen either of the Sonic movies. There's something in the Sonic movies where essentially the way that he goes from realm to realm is he straight up like full sprint gold ring Doctor Strange's himself into other realms when he wants to, right? Okay, anyway, so that first trailer, nothing. Sonic game's coming out. People are like, oh man, it's going to be an open world Sonic. And this is the teaser's trailer that happened before we finally got some actual like content for the game. And I believe that this one is similar in that it's short. I think it just shows Sonic running up to an open field. No, there's more. So, you know, I did not get Breath of the Wild vibes from that. Obviously, there's some other things that we haven't seen yet that might have taken place. But so here's the weirdest part to me, right? Okay, so there's like a little turbine that you're using as your tower mechanic, like you could say Breath of the Wild, although it's interesting that it's just in a random spot on the ground. Rather than, and maybe it's not the map reveal mechanic, the way that you have like the what are they called in Assassin's Creed? The really high spots that let you examine everything. You got the freaking Sheik Towers in Breath of the Wild. You got the long necks in Horizon. It's a common mechanic at this point. If you reveal the map through getting to a specific point. I guess it's maybe raised up a little bit, but it's not raised up that much. So, but regardless, okay, that's not the thing that caught my attention. This is what caught my attention. There's these enemies, and Sonic has a trail behind him. And when he completes the circle around it, the enemy gets cross-slashed, popped up, and you start getting to do aerial combos against him. Has anyone played Astral Chain? Because that's just how Astral Chain works. Except you have two people, right? You have your character, and then you have your guardian that you're controlling, and you have a chain between you. If you wrap the chain around an enemy, they get bound, and you can do a whole bunch of combo stuff to them. You know, I think I'm more concerned about the weird enemy design. Like, is this thing just a foot? Are you fighting a foot? Or are you fighting 2 feet? Okay, so initially, like, I wonder why. Maybe these next trailers will give us a better idea, because I'm kind of curious why people are calling it saying it looks like a tech demo. Because honestly, like, I thought that looked pretty good, except for maybe the emptiness of it all.
IGN First for the month of June 2022 is all about Sonic Frontiers. We've got gameplay, we've got previews, and we've got interviews from the developers who made it all happen. All month long, we'll be diving deep into what you can expect when the game makes its way to you later down the road. First up, we've got the world premiere gameplay focusing on exploring the mysterious island that Sonic suddenly finds himself stranded on at the start of the game. Be sure to stick with IGN throughout June so you don't miss anything. Until then, here's your first look at gameplay from Sonic Frontiers.
All right, I'm ready. You know, the visual style of this reminds me a little bit of all of the Nintendo Hire This Man memes, where it's just a static shot of like a Pokemon or Mario standing in a grass field. there's not fall damage, so that's nice. It's exactly what this game is, but just like actually a game, right? Interesting. There you go. I was like, why aren't you running? Okay, so we're climbing a big-ass tower. Need to work on those kinetics a little bit, guys. There you go. That looks like a normal walking speed. I feel like you could have gotten higher. Oh, doesn't matter now. Okay, I see why people are saying it looks like a tech demo, because there is just some random shit placed around for you to use the mechanics with at this point. Like, none of these points of interest look like legitimate points of interest. They all just look like different things for you to test out the game engine with, like the physics engine and Sonic speed engine, rather than an actual, like, purposeful mechanic that exists for any reason. Almost like it's a testing area. Of course, we see all these little signs sitting around, right? I wonder if those are essentially like challenges. Because there wasn't much story to Sonic games, right? It was about the gameplay very heavily. It was about going fast and trying to make your way through the environment, take as little damage as possible, collect a bunch of rings. So if each of those little, like that board right there with the question mark on it, if that's just like a challenge thing, if you need to go to a certain place in a certain amount of time, to where it's like a time trial mechanic, and you're just taking advantage of Sonic being fast, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Sonic has a story, it does, but older Sonic games are the ones that we use the most as a comparison metric. Sonic like 1 through 3, right? And then you can take more modern games like Origins or Mania, and the story in them is very, very light, right? We know that you're trying to save all of the cute little fuzzy creatures from Dr. Robotnik and or trying to stop the Chaos Emeralds. And that's the entirety of it, unless you go into things, you know, like Sonic 08 and stuff like that, but we don't talk about those. I saw someone recently ask, I think it's the director of this game, or maybe it's like the head of Sonic or Sega or something about that, about whether Sonic was going to be making out with any more humans. And he's like, no, I think we're probably done with that. And it's like, oh, that's good. I don't remember any crazy story stuff in 3 with character development or plot twists. I just remember it being more Sonic. I didn't play Knuckles though, so. How do we go even faster? Okay. So this is the combat. I think I really want to know what...
First continues on with yet another look at Sonic Frontiers gameplay, this time focusing on combat. Sonic is up against an all-new set of baddies, some of which are among the most massive bosses we've ever seen in a Sonic game. Fortunately, Sonic's got some new tricks up his sleeve. Make sure to stick with IGN all throughout June because we've got a full hands-on preview and interviews from the developers in store. For now though, enjoy the combat of Sonic Frontiers.
So, like... Here's the problem with open world stuff, right, though, is that open world stuff, it needs to be designed in such a way that it pulls you around the world, either through natural curiosity or because something is driving you to that direction. And I'm still very curious what is driving and pulling us. Did you seriously not pick up any rings after you lost them? What's wrong with you? So we can, like, charge, we can spam attacks, and we can activate specials in some way. Is there no UI at all to this? Or do they just have the UI hidden? People are gonna be busting out the Sonic versus Goku memes now. With him straight up shooting key blasts. Ha! Sure, this time you pick your rings back up. They should have let you get on that thing and ride it. The giant spinning disc. We already saw them fight this. You don't need to show us again. I mean, that was cool. It didn't do anything. How did they decide what footage to use in show? I feel like that's part of the problem with both that first trailer and this one, is that they've picked interesting footage, but I don't mean interesting as in like, oh, this is really interesting to watch. Like, this is an interesting choice of like weirdly paced and weirdly presented bits. Like, they showed us like the little ball enemy, right? It takes a while to fight, and that's fine, but you showed us the same enemy twice back to back, and neither fight was different in any meaningful way. So all you did was just burn the clock. See, at least with that one, they showed a difference of moving, like, grabbing multiple, launching them in the air, and then, you know, speedballing between them. this supposed to be a boss? Ha! Cute. That was cute. I liked that. Do you think the build kept crashing and that's why they've had to keep resetting the fight essentially from a different angle? Man, I'll tell you what, though. They picked some of the most boring-ass music on the back of this. All right, IGN. We're still going with you.
Sonic's done a lot in 30 years. He's been a pioneer of the high-speed 2D platformer, an Olympic athlete, a respectable kart racing
Again, though, like, I don't necessarily
fighter,
feel like
TV
what they're
star,
showing
and
us is
a
that
Hollywood
bad. I feel like the
blockbuster
way
movie
that they're
star as well,
showing it
but
to us
he's
is
never
awful.
done open world, and Sonic Frontiers fixes to change that. I was fortunate enough to be one of the first people outside of Sonic Team to go hands-on with Sonic Frontiers, and let me just say, if you're worried about how the blue blur will fare in this unfamiliar genre, well, I think Crush 40 probably put it best. Open your heart, it's gonna be alright. The first thing that struck me about Sonic Frontiers was how uniquely somber and serene it was right from the outset. After flying into a wormhole with Tails and Amy, Sonic finds himself separated from his friends and all alone on an isolated island, with nothing but an AI voice guiding him to collect the Chaos Emeralds. There's no one for Sonic to bounce quips off of, no energetic Crush 40 soundtrack, just wide open fields as far as the eye can see. There's an air of mystery in Sonic Frontiers, and it's a vibe that's driven home even further by the beautiful yet minimalist piano melodies that accompany Sonic as he explores the island.
I want to know if this
All
footage
this
is
a
footage
very
that IGN
intentional
shows
choice.
or if it's
I asked
footage
Sonic
that
Team head
Sega
Takashi Iizuka
shows.
to describe how the tone of Sonic Frontiers differs from previous Sonic games, and he said, past games in the Sonic series have taken different tones depending on their stories and themes. This time, these mysterious islands are the game's major setting. That's why our artists have worked hard to create a mysterious mood. Of course, the big new change in Sonic Frontiers is the shift from purely linear levels to a huge open world where Sonic can freely run in any direction. But Sonic Team doesn't like to use the term open world to describe Sonic Frontiers' gameplay, instead referring to its style as being open zone. Open world games like Zelda or other AAA games fundamentally have RPG or adventure worlds. For Sonic, the
Open
core
zone is
here
becoming
a
more
3D
popular
action
too.
world.
That's what Final
Our
Fantasy
basic
16
idea
is
was
going to be
have
doing.
that
It's
take
an
place
open
in
zone
open
style
space.
game.
What sets
Instead of being
Sonic
able to
Frontiers
traverse
apart
anywhere
is
you
this
want
different
and trying to
approach
create a
open game
world,
Having
there's
played Sonic
there's
Frontiers for about
sections
4
essentially.
hours, it's easy to see what Izuka-san means. Sonic Frontiers' open zone design is very different from any other open world I've played. It's a giant playground. Every few feet, there's a bumper spring that bounces you like a pinball between 5 other bumpers.
I have a feeling
before
people are
putting
not
you
going to be a
on
very
one of
big
many
fan of the
collectible rail tracks.
playground.
Or a speed ramp that sets you on a completely different path leading to some other collectible or reward. Or a line of rings that you can lightspeed dash into. Essentially, they've taken that core appeal of every Sonic level having multiple paths that eventually loop back around to the main one, and applied that to these giant non-linear open zones. One thing that has to be noted is that very few of these elements are built into the environmental design, meaning that rails, platforms, boost rings, and so on are just inexplicably floating in the air all around, which isn't totally unusual for a Sonic game, but it feels especially jarring in Frontiers in
Yeah,
particular.
it looks weird as hell.
Because of the frequent and sudden pop-in of these objects and the otherwise very naturalistic art style. Of course, it's worth emphasizing that this gameplay and the version that I played were from an early build, but this is definitely an area that I would hope to see improvement in the final version. Beyond that, there are also a wide variety of puzzles and challenges that are littered throughout the zone, and completing them is how you uncover sections of your map. Most of these are very simple, requiring you to orient a statue the correct way, quickly hop back and forth between colored tiles, or use Sonic's new side loop ability to draw circles around certain objects in the environment to interact with them. The best ones, though, are the races against the clock where you have to get from point A to point B in a limited amount of time. The openness of Frontiers level design makes straightforward races like these a ton of fun, because you have to try and improvise a path to the end that might not be immediately obvious. There are some exceptions, but combat in traditional Sonic games generally isn't a thing that goes much deeper than jumping, rolling, or using a homing attack into enemies at the right time. That changes in Sonic Frontiers, which now has you fighting all sorts of wandering enemies and mini-bosses using an all-new array of incredibly flashy attacks. It's not all style and no substance though. Sonic is able to quickly dodge using the bumper buttons on the gamepad, and by pressing them together, he can even parry attacks with the right timing. His homing attack
I like
also
parries
feels
and
much more
dodges.
powerful, landing with a ton of impact and keeping Sonic stuck to his enemy, allowing for a flurry of follow-up strikes. One of the things that I really appreciate about the combat from what I played is that there are usually multiple ways to deal with specific enemies. Like, take for example this guy, who has an impenetrable shell that he can expand into spinning blades and throw at you. One way to deal with him is just to carefully time your homing attacks so you don't get hit by the blades. But if you do that, the window to damage him is small. To increase that window, you can either parry the blades and knock them away right before they hit you, or you can even use Sonic's side loop ability to encircle the enemy, which causes the shell to go flying upwards. Defeating these enemies will reward you with EXP that you can use to purchase new skills from a skill tree, which gives Sonic Frontiers a really nice feeling of power progression.
But we're not going to get to see the skill tree here, are we?
Some of the later skills
we're not seeing any menus, anything along the lines of a UI, none of that stuff. We're not seeing any of those types of details. And this is all just reused footage from the very first IGN video we watched. Well, actually, it's a combination of both of them.
That I had to contend with. These are near Shadow of the Colossus-esque in their scale, with one in particular against a beast named Asura, requiring Sonic to bait the Titan to slam the ground and then boost up its arm in order to reach the weak spots on its head. It's an ambitious boss battle, far beyond anything I've seen in the Sonic series to date, but it's also the part of the game that needs the most work. Far too often, I'd fly off the boss's arm without knowing why, or I'd get to the top and for some reason lack the momentum needed to actually reach the head. Sonic must hunt down and defeat these bosses in order to collect portal gears, which open up portals that lead to bite-sized linear stages, done in the style of previous Sonic games, giving Sonic Frontiers a nice mix of both old and new styles.
Well, it gave you another way to get up there. That was new footage of him just climbing up to the top like that. That was different. That was new. At least you know, he was talking about the frustration trying to run up the arms. You don't have to do it that way, it doesn't seem.
To unlock the coveted Chaos Emeralds. Sonic Frontiers is an exciting new step forward for the Sonic series into uncharted territory, and based on my time with it...
Okay, what do we have left? We have the gameplay trailer and then the mini direct showcase. So let's see what the actual gameplay trailer has for us. Wait, are these the same thing? Yes, these are the same thing. Okay. Never mind. We only have one thing left.
Into a new zone. Sonic's latest action adventure kicks off on the vibrant Starfall Islands. Home
you can definitely tell this is Nintendo Switch footage. It is very different from what we just watched.
You can freely dash through a vast open zone, taking full advantage of Sonic's speedy skills. Lock on and attack enemies standing in your way. Chain together attacks to trigger combos and rack up damage. With good timing, you can even deflect enemy attacks. Acquire skills to bolster Sonic's arsenal of moves. You can also enter a special zone called Cyberspace. Take on challenges at supersonic speeds and grab keys to progress. what awaits Sonic on these strange islands.
You know, they keep saying islands,
Sonic
right?
Frontiers.
They keep saying islands, but at the same time, I'm like, how many islands are there? Because you haven't showed us very much. This is the first area that's not from that core area, and this is clearly meant to be a, what do they call it?
Special zone called cyberspace.
The cyberspace. This is meant to be closer to like a actual Sonic experience in this cyberspace, right? It definitely looks like they have these more linear progression levels, and doing one unlocks the other one, and this seems to be its own side event, right? You unlock keys to progress, and I'm feeling what they mean by progress is unlock more levels and stuff. We got a Green Hill Zone and stuff right here in terms of what, like, this is going to be where they reference other levels and stuff. But they keep saying islands, and we've still only seen this one island. I guess you might end up going to other ones, but given that this game comes out soon, and with as much marketing as they already put behind it, makes me curious just how big the actual total scope of this game is, because it feels like it could be extremely limited. Is that Amy up there? Just like, is that evil Amy? I don't know. We got Mecha Godzilla. But so I see why people are so skeptical. You know, I'm less concerned about the Unreal Engine demo side of it, and I feel more concerned about the total scale, right? Because I feel like everything they've shown us is very, very small, especially because it's like, oh, it's this big island, but the idea also is that you're Sonic, you are the blue blur, you can run super fast, you can speedball across this entire island very, very quickly, which if the island is big because Sonic can get around it so quickly, that still ends up making it small, and there didn't actually look like there was that much on the island. Now, we know that he got sent to this island, it's a mysterious island, and he needs to collect the Chaos Emeralds, but we don't know why, and maybe once he collects a certain number of the Chaos Emeralds, maybe that unlocks another island that is actually something different, that is something apart from what we are seeing there. I genuinely hope so, because my concern is less about it looking like a tech demo, because it looks fun, it looks neat, but my concern is that there just isn't actually that much in it, and that it'll be a swift and ultimately bland experience due to the lack of content that is actually in the game, because it does look limited right now. I'm also amazed that this thing is going on Nintendo Switch, because looking at the other trailers and then watching that Nintendo Switch trailer, whoo, power to you, devs. I don't know how you managed to make something look so good and then also figure out how to get it to work on an Amazon Fire tablet, but congratulations, you did an incredible job. So really though, with this, I like a lot of what I see. I can see it being fun, especially because the combat actually looks pretty good. We didn't get to see very many enemies, and that's a concern of my own end, because if there's a lack of enemy variety, even if the combat is fun, it gets stale really, really fast if you don't have new enemies and new mechanics that are switching it up for you in one way or another. And so that's a concern. But if it does offer enough beyond what they've shown us, it'll be a really great game. But I'm not feeling confident that there's a ton there currently. That could change, but currently not super confident in it. But that's just, my take from watching, like 30 minutes of this, whatever you want to call this. I also, like I said, I mentioned this earlier in the video. I really blame whoever cut this footage for a lot of the lack of excitement around this, because both of those trailers from IGN, like the 8-minute hands-on and the 6.5-minute gameplay, both of them were terribly presented. Whoever edited those, I'm sorry, but your chief editor failed you, because they should have went, okay, I see what you're going for, but we need to spice this up because this is fucking boring to watch. And it's not that the stuff that we're looking at is boring, the way that it's presented is boring. There was repeated content, some of that stuff took way too long, Like, the way that they cut the boss fight was actually better than the way that they were cutting fights against the regular enemies. We watched them fight the little ball guy twice, and there wasn't even anything different or unique between the two fights. And both of them felt like that part took just as long as fighting the big, Wompy boss. So I do feel like part of this is on the presentation rather than the content itself. But that's a different, that there's only so much that the game can do about the way that it's being presented. And I'm not sure who to blame, whether that's IGN or if the dev said you have to use this footage. Don't know, but I would like to know. But probably we'll never know. But anyway, that's how I feel about it. What do you think about it? What do you think about Sonic Frontiers? Where are you sitting on it as a game, as a release? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep with the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. And speaking of Discord, we actually have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can watch together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to get out of here, though, so if you watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy. Alrighty then. Alright, Sonic, goodbye. Let's run this battle. And let's get into Hellblade. Do you ever just like scratch your legs and it feels both amazing and awful at the same time? That just happened. Jolly good work, everybody. We got one healer, give yours for 420 channel points. Most kills go to myself, followed by Equator. Most assists go into Athena, followed by Seraphi. Going random on the healer in 5. Yeah, I feel like Sonic Frontiers, there's a lot there that could be really good, but there's a lot that also just needs to be presented better in a more clearer sense than it currently is. Going random. Athena with the healers. Back to the map. Let me place archers, huh? All right. Archers and bombers. Let's go ahead and place for Athena real quick. Oh, she's got a bunch of quests that she needs to complete. I will do this for her. Did it. Okay. Let's pause that. Let me get... Oh, man, I need to open Steam. There's always something that you miss on your way to setting up stream, because there's actually isn't that many windows compared to what I'm used to seeing. I know, especially on Fridays with Athena, man, the number of things that we have open on this poor computer. I say poor. I literally grab this computer in such a way, with its design, for the sake of trying to still maintain a single PC stream setup. But just because it's able to do it and do it well doesn't mean that I don't feel bad for it. All right. Hellblade. Poke. Hi, Bella. Welcome in. How are you? Are you having a good time? How is your morning? I don't know if it's still morning for you, but it is here. Oh, 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 that was a good stretch. That felt good. All right. I'm sleepy. That tracks. Part of me definitely did not want to get up for stream today. All right, hopefully a PlayStation 4 controller works with this, because if it doesn't, I have to run upstairs to grab the Xbox controller. Didn't go to bed till 6:30. God damn. That's a... Oh. Yeah, I could understand where that might be a bit much. I prefer my games to be a little bit brighter, just on subtitles color. Oh, interesting. White's fine. Standard size is fine. Transparent background's fine. Menu background. Half transparent's fine. Mono sound is off. Color blindness. I don't have any. I was grinding MLB The Show so I could get a pack I wanted. What is the pack? Does it give you a player or something? Graphics. Okay, everything is pretty well maxed out. One thing I do need to do, though, is I need to open Task Manager and pop it over on the side real quick. Because, as I mentioned just a moment ago, we're rocking this on one PC, but that also means that when I'm grabbing a game like this and we're cranking it on max settings at full 4K, it doesn't always necessarily mean that the computer can handle it, and we might have to adjust some settings. It's got Xbox controls, that's fine. Auto combat difficulty? I don't know what that means. Oh, shit. Hang on. We need to update our category. There we go.
Hello. Who are you? Doesn't matter. Welcome. You are safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
Gonna need to adjust the settings. We're getting 15 FPS.
It's breathing. It's breathing. It's breathing. He knows. He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? Watch.
Wonder if I can change the... Yeah, I can. Set the density and draw distance of foliage. Post-processing. Go like that. Bring the shadows down a little bit. textures down once. Bring the view distance down a little bit. Go like that. If we leave ray tracing on low. If we do DLSS, we might actually be able to... Hang on. If we put this back to very high, but put DLSS to balanced, let's see what that does. Because DLSS can actually make a massive difference. Whoa. The graphics card can't handle that, though. For some reason, OBS is taking a lot of the graphics card right now, and I don't know why. If I apply this, though, it should release some of the burden on the graphics card. Let me force close this and see if I can't figure out what OBS's problem is. Try this again. It's also interesting because we played a Plague Tale at 4K and we didn't have these issues, but of course every game is different. Let's try this again. It did not like me turning on DLSS at all. Set the density and draw distance of foliage. Bring that down. Post-processing, bring that down. Shadows down. Textures stay up. View distance there. View effects up. VSync on. Ray tracing. Let's just turn the ray tracing off. Ray tracing can be very burdensome on computers. Apply. Let's see how that goes. See if that's more possible for the computer. We're getting 55 FPS. That's pretty close to 60. And we're within operating parameters of the computer. It works.
Doesn't matter. Welcome. You're safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
What's happening? It's breathing. It's breathing. What? He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? They're watching. Why doesn't she turn coming? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him. He's already dead.
Feel you coming. Quiet. I never told you of the others. You hear them too, right? They've been around ever since the tragedy. Well, that's not quite true. Some are old, some are new, but they've changed. I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
Can you see them? Over there.
Why isn't she looking?
Why aren't you looking?
It's in Hellheim. Look. Up ahead.
In Hellheim.
You see it too?
You promised you came.
Yes. It is real after all. She's finally arrived in the land of mist and fog. The place the Northmen call Hell.
Turn back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe. Turn back.
Go back, go back, go
It's
back.
not safe.
It's them. They're here.
You see that? I can see you.
Look around and you'll see them. The drowned, the sick, the slain. Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here.
You see them.
This is not a place of rest.
You can't do this. Go back. Go back.
They're going to do that to you. Can you see them? Can you see them? They're going to do that to you. They're watching.
Stop.
Can you feel them watching? They're watching her.
It's making my spine crawl, man.
They're watching her. You're so close to the darkness. Go back.
Can you feel it?
What is she thinking? I can tell you. She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it by now after so many years. But the darkness, it just builds onto itself, growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore it, turn away. But it's always there, just out of sight, where you're most vulnerable. It's like it knows that just enough light is all you need to see its suffocating power.
I don't know if it's coming through on Steam very well, but because it uses proper 3D binaural audio, their voices are in different directions and parts of my head, and it's trippy.
You might think she's brave to go on this journey on her own, but it isn't bravery that drives her. Bravery only means something to those afraid of death. Senua's fear runs far, far deeper. What is she looking at? What is she leaving behind? I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back. No one will judge her. No one will ever know. Oh, she heard us.
There's no going back.
pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to. Why don't you join us? Maybe you too have a part to play in this story.
Focus. Look closer. Look. Use your eyes. Why isn't she looking closer? She needs to look closer. Focus.
Do not forget my stories, Senua. Because your darkness comes from hell, and your fate lies there. They say the burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate, but gods and the living will follow this path. You must leave the Isles of Orkney across the eastern sea and find a road that leads north and down through deep, dark valleys. After 9 nights of riding, you will follow a great river and will find a bridge covered in gold. The path to Helheim goes from there, across the river of knives that flows in the dark.
Man, power to her to just wade into this water this way.
Darkness is coming. Yearns for life. Hungers for it. Like a pack of wolves on a hunt. But she's not stopping. Not this time.
Can you see it?
Land of mist and fog.
He's in there.
The old fool was right.
You see it?
What was it he said? The river of knives across which lies the halls of hell. The place they call Helheim.
He's lost. He's lost. Where are you?
Got a bro's head in there.
I hear you.
He's there. You know it.
There's no doubt about
He's
it.
lost.
The source of the darkness is in Helheim. And the goddess Hela holds
Man, the
his
facial
soul.
textures are insane.
Her dear beloved, Dillian.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? Why doesn't she turn back? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him. He's already dead. His soul is in Helheim.
The bridge to Helheim. I forget its name.
Pretty natural
She
movement.
forgets too. But she does remember that only the dead may cross it. That part wasn't so easy to forget. The old fool said there was a hidden path up to it. Let's see, shall we?
I feel like I need to go over to the left there, but I also don't know how much, if any, extras there are in this game. It's a shorter experience, right? It's only like 8 hours long, which might not mean that there's a lot of, like, go around the corner to find something extra. We did a lot of looting in A Plague Tale, but I don't know if that'll necessarily still be the case here.
The Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness. Only the dead dwell in Helheim. And that is where you must travel.
Damn, voices. Shit. You got one saying don't fall, the other one being like, yeah, go ahead, fall, do it.
Just drop down. You're not safe. Stop down there. Why did she do that? She shouldn't have done it. She can't go back now.
No, this is it. The hidden path.
He's going to hurt you. It's dangerous.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them. Don't listen.
Hello?
I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. Don't listen. Never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. Who are you? It's just a memory.
Druth? Is that you?
For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. A liar.
He's lost.
An old fool. Druth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Is he an FMV? I can't tell.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
Air fried salmon time? That sounds amazing. I want food.
Focus your
I love
inner
food.
eye, and you too will see what's hidden in plain sight.
You have to
I can see one.
to see.
Hold it in your mind's
She needs
eye.
to focus now.
Find one like it to open the gate.
So I need to find that shape.
It's
There
near.
it is.
Look towards the gate, and the gate will open.
Can I just open it now?
The gate is open. Go through the gate. Go through it. It's dangerous. Follow it.
It worked.
Where will it take you? It's not safe.
You know, I know it's cool to Aragorn doors open, but man, that looked heavy.
But I watched the Northmen, learnt their ways.
I know you did.
You listened when everyone else laughed. My people paid a heavy price. Carry my stories with you, and together we will make the Northmen feel our fury.
Oh, this looks safe. This is not.
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always here. I guess it's the same with heights. You can stand on the edge, pretend it's going to be okay. But you know that death is near. Waiting
Oh,
for
I'm
you to
balancing.
take
I'm balancing.
a little slip. You can't just wish things away.
Ooh, that was awful.
world of the dead is ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed. And with her, you must bargain.
Stay back. Look at it. You have to open it.
The gate to Helheim divides the living from the dead. Is that the face of Hela herself? The half-rotten goddess that rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him. Shh. Someone's here. You took him from me. I beg you, let him go. I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
Oh, shit. Hello. Not now. Ow. How do I attack? Ow.
You're close.
Okay. Oh,
Let them get behind you.
you're just a shadow. What do I do to the shadow?
Behind you.
Do I lose? I didn't figure out a way to beat shadow monsters. I couldn't hit him anymore. Oh no, we lost. Okay. Unless we're gonna wake back up because it was insanity.
A vision of what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain. It does not reason. It is rot. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
The dark rot will grow each time you fail. Okay, don't die too much. If the rot reaches Senua's head, her quest is over. Does this have perma loss? Like perma death? Yes! Okay. Wow. Okay. Don't fuck up, bro. Wow. Yeah, don't fuck up. Got it. Good thing it plays semi-Soulsian in terms of dodge and parries. I know how to do that shit. That is one thing that I'm decent at. But damn. Game ain't playing games. Whew. The game makes me uncomfortable. I'm gonna refill my coffee real quick. Okay, 15 gold or 3 warriors, either of which can be yours for 420 channel points. Most kills go into Athena, Geohelix, and Seraphi. Most assists go into Seraphi, followed by El Canadiano. Going random on the scrolls and the gold in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Athena with the gold, Fee with the warriors, back to the map. Okay, back into insanity.
The hardest battles are fought in the mind. That is what Dillian taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind.
Sort of.
And she will fulfill her vow.
She sort of has control of her mind.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Zurt, and the god of illusion, Valravan. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
So I know with this game they did a ton of consultation with mental health experts and included getting people that suffer from severe mental illnesses like schizophrenia and built the game based around a lot of the things that they learned from those people.
She's going to die.
Valravan, ancestor of the seers and master of ravens. He hunts his prey with his powers of illusion and feasts on their remains. Follow the path to Valravan and defeat him in battle to earn his mark. The gate to Helheim cannot be opened without it.
And I can't obviously attest to whether they did a good job of that or not, because I don't suffer from those conditions, thankfully. I do have my own mental health battles, but they aren't these kind of mental health battles, right? Which is I'm very thankful for that. But it feels very uncomfortable and disconcerting through a lot of this. Pretty interesting, not gonna lie. The game is really creepy so far. In a good way? Yeah, it's definitely in a good way. Because the whole idea of the game is that Senua is insane. Like, she does have multiple types of mental...
But there was another who came from the ice.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like,
he was like a man.
They're using things like paranoia and schizophrenia and a couple others. I forget which ones all that they tried to model her mental state off of.
And the Northmen hold him to be the foremost of the gods, the All-Father.
But it literally makes my back crawl. Like, the best way I can describe it is it's not even like a gross, like, cringe type. It literally feels like something is grabbing my spine and slowly grabbing its way up my spine. And it's really uncomfortable, and I don't like it. Games sure have gotten pretty, though. Goddamn. The animation work in this game is also very, very impressive. That was one of the things that we largely pointed out was the largest, like, failing of A Plague Tale: Innocence, was that while the game looked good, it had good characters and a pretty good story, the game severely hurt itself with just having weaker animations. And
illusion hides the path to Valravan. Don't trust your eyes. Find another way to see the truth.
This game's animations are incredible. I'm really curious how those kind of conversations went, though, of like, so you've been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Can you tell us more about that? What's it like being in your brain?
Come on, push it.
Can I push it? This looks very... Oh, okay.
She did it. She did it. She did it. Look, something's different. Change, different.
Okay.
It's funny. We all want to see behind the veil, don't we? But once we do, we mostly just close our eyes again and pretend what we saw was never really there.
Some people are definitely more willing to be open and help people understand. They'd probably be happy that people want to know more. The thing that I'm curious of is how hard it was to find those people, because there's also, unfortunately, a lot of people that have severe mental issues that aren't acutely aware of them to the point that they would be able to speak about it. Like, to where they're even self-aware of the problems.
However hard she tried, begged.
That's uncomfortable.
This is the price she pays for seeing things differently. Because once you gaze into the relentless darkness, all that lurks within it.
Personally, when it comes to mental health, I definitely enjoy talking about mental illnesses, trying to help people understand more about who I am. I agree. I mean, I've struggled with, like, suicidal stuff for a long time, and thankfully, having dealt with it for a long time and having gotten treatment for it and stuff like that, it's easier for me to talk about it. In terms of being able to talk about what it's like to deal with, like, I can talk about what happens in the brain and, like, what it's like going through that experience and being able to give more details to people about life with those issues. Man, this looks insanely good.
Find a good position. Don't let them behind you.
I gotta say, the animation work in this, again, is beautiful. Like Ninja Theory, I want people to hire you to just do animations in any game.
Find what she's looking for.
Get that some people aren't aware of it because it's their normal. Right, and because we don't, as a society, talk very much about mental health, it's not something that is very widely or openly discussed. It's not something that people are aware of that what is or is not normal. I'm going to put normal in big quotes there, right? But they don't realize that you shouldn't necessarily think or feel that way.
Valravan's power of illusion comes from ravens. Align the ravens to break his magic seal.
How do I get up there?
Show me what you have seen.
Maybe I don't. I go, does looking through this change anything? Yeah, I see that up there. Oh. What the hell are you? Hello? Oh, that did change, actually. I don't believe that wall was open like that before. Maybe it was, and I just didn't notice. Hard to say. I'm upset. Why are you upset, Bella? I can't find the salmon. I'm sorry. Been hospitalized a number of times throughout my life for being suicidal. I thankfully have only been hospitalized for it once. Thankfully. Now, mind you, that was the time that I was the closest.
Something's shifted. Something's happened. Something huge.
Wasn't that thing floating a moment ago? I don't know. Maybe I just thought it was floating.
Do you feel it too? It's like crossing into another world that looks the same but feels different. An imposter world where the forest itself is watching. Another game.
Another gate. You know what to do. Stay back. You have to open it. It's not safe. Don't listen to them. Listen, don't.
To break the seal, align the ravens with the mark of Valravan.
What does it mean? Line up the ravens. Which ravens? Can't you see them?
I can't do it from this side. At least not currently.
Line up the ravens.
But I also can't... I don't see a way up there. Is that thing look... Okay. I was like, is it looking at me or is it...
I hear something.
If you hear the song of Valravan, follow it, and it will lead you to him. But be aware of his illusions. You can't always trust your eyes.
I am glad that we are all still here.
Mother of
Challenge me.
The sun. Not Raven. The sun. This is focus. It doesn't mean where to go. Focus. Where is it?
It was just an effigy.
Your fault.
Yeah, see? So I wasn't crazy. That thing before was floating and moving like that, and it's just one of the... It's an effigy of him, though.
Fight me.
Is she lost? Wouldn't be the first time. Last winter, before the tragedy, she journeyed into the wilds of her native land.
So what is
Living off
through...
berries not uncommon, you see.
Wait a minute.
We call such a person a Gelt. Some like Truth become Gelt in search of parents. Others, like Senua, to purge a
Hey,
curse.
turkey burgers are good too. I love turkey burgers.
Those who make it back are forever changed.
Just for good measure, we'll open this. And this.
She can get up now. She can get up now. What's happening? She can get up now. She can get up. Must be magic. Dog magic. A trick. Raven tricking her. Raven. How can she get up? Bait. It's him. Dark magic draws her closer. It's not him. He's helping her. It's not him. It's a trick. She's doing it on her. He's not tricking her. It's magic. It's an illusion.
You know, I can get up here, but like a couple of other spots that we saw, I'm not sure what the point is of being able to get up there. Like, I currently don't see any collectibles, right, in the way of that we see in a lot of other games of like stuff that you want to pick up. I don't have any UI, which is perfectly fine. Not having a UI is great, actually, because it just makes the experience, like, it feels like even less of a video game if you have nothing on the screen but the game itself. But it does make me wonder if I'm supposed to be finding things, or if those things that I find would even be real, I guess. Is any of this real? It's a great question.
We picture fear, and we think of a shadow in the woods, a creature in the night. If only it were that simple. The worst kind comes without warning, a deep and primal signal from within. A reminder that just because you cannot see the threat, it doesn't mean that it's not already here.
Raven, he's there. Has to find another route. Druth says there's always another route. Find a way. Go round. Find your own path. It's a different way.
Well, this room is mildly uncomfortable.
Defend yourself. He's down. Finish it. Finish it. Strike. Don't let them get in. Don't let them surround
Oh. Alright, not too bad, not too bad. Only got hit once. Whew.
The Northmen say that Odin and his brothers killed Ymir, and that the world of men was formed from his corpse. They made his bones into stone, and his flesh into earth, and his blood into the salt sea. They set his skull to be the bowl of the sky, with his brains for clouds. Odin and his brothers caught the sparks flying from Muspel and made them into stars. And to protect the new world from the giants, they used Ymir's great curving eyebrows as walls.
Do you know what it's like to leave everything behind? Your home, loved ones, to head deep into the wilds, perhaps never to return. Senua does. Because when darkness speaks, it changes everything, turning home into a foreign land and loved ones into strangers. Exile makes sense when you realize that you were never really home in the first place.
The Northmen say you must sacrifice in order to receive. They tell how the runes were revealed to Odin only in sacrifice. He hung himself from the world tree, and he stabbed himself with a spear, and he dedicated the sacrifice to himself. For 9 nights he hung on the tree without food or drink, and at last he saw the runes below him. He gave a cry and gathered them in his mind and learnt them. Then he fell from the tree.
It's getting nasty. The game makes me uncomfortable. How's the kinetics in this game? It's alright. I don't... It's something that I always like to check, but it's not something that I'm always upset if they don't have good world kinetics. Really takes a lot of time and effort to properly get that set up that way. This must be the last door. This one's bigger than the others.
The song. Balraven's song. It's over here. It's over here. Is that? It's over there. No, it's here. There's 2. Hassan, focus. It's magic. It's magic. This reminds her of somewhere.
The forest.
Where? Which forest?
Forest in the wilds.
The wilds.
She left England.
She went to the wilds a long time ago.
Why did she go to the wilds?
She wanted to.
This looks
find her own
online,
darkness.
but what's it
She thought she could beat
doing?
her own
Did she beat her darkness?
darkness. No.
It nearly killed her, but she tried.
Can't tell what this one does.
Druth helped her.
If it wasn't for Druth, she'd
She'd
be
be
dead.
She can't beat her own darkness.
I thought this one might bring the bridge
She
up.
wanted to marry Dillian. She came to beat her own darkness and marry Dillian.
Maybe not yet. Looks like the other ones are active too.
She thought her curse would affect him.
Wonder if we can get across here and drop that bridge if we look through
She thought she'd bring
this.
the darkness
Is
to
there a
him
bridge
too.
there now?
She nearly died.
She thought the curse made her take.
All that does is open this wall
Druth helped her.
to start. But I need to drop this bridge. There's one over here, but I can't tell that it does anything. Like, this one is on, but I can't tell that it does anything. What's this way? I feel like there's supposed to be a bridge or something there. We look that way. Aha! There we go. Don't know if I can get up there, but we'll see. Ladders certainly help. So going through this gets rid of a bunch of them.
The ravens. They've gone. No. Half of them have gone. They've gone. Some are still there. But where? Some are still there. Oh, ravens.
So we got to go through the other one to get rid of enough of the ravens that we can actually figure out which direction we need to go. Hey, Cerulean, welcome in.
Out in the wilds, in the cold winter woods,
Where have they gone?
she no longer felt fit for this world. She almost gave in to the darkness. But she remembered Dillian's words. She remembered her promise. She resolved to fight on and kill that which had become a part of her.
Does this give me this bridge back? It does, okay. We already used that gate to open up the wall here. Is it still open? Yes, okay.
The Northmen say that Odin is always in search of knowledge and wisdom and magic. There was a very wise being named Mimir, who guarded the waters of wisdom which flow from the roots of the World Tree. Odin wished to drink from this spring, but he had to pay a price. So he gouged out his own eye as offering to Mimir. He drank from the well and traded one way of seeing for another.
I expected that little, like, data log to be a little bit longer, but that's fine. Alright, we have 1 Berserker and 2 Flying Rogues. Either it should be used for 420 channel points. Most kills going to Hallrendir, followed by myself, Mosa Cisco, into Globot Grayson, followed by GeoHelix. Going right on the scrolls in 5. I'm also going to reboot Stream Raiders after this. It's kind of running poorly. Fee with the Berserker, Globot Grayson with the Flying Rogues. See what I mean? It's running poorly. Poorly. Close that for a second. I should still have a... Oh, I guess not. Just reboot that so that it dumps its RAM or whatever it needed to do that was causing the issue. Oh, yeah. Okay. And how are you doing, Cerulean? Are you having a good time? Enjoying your weekend? I can't get over there currently. Not this way, anyway. I see what I need to do. Okay. We gotta put the wall back. We opened a door for us to be able to get back in here, but we gotta put the wall back so that we can actually walk over there. Yoink.
The ravens. They were gone. No. There's still three. There's three. There's three. Where have they gone? Where have they gone? She did it. What does it mean? She's done.
Looking back, I was so naive to think she could banish it on her own. The further she saw into the darkness, the more she struggled to see anything at all. And the gloom, the smallest hints of shape, sound, or thought, grow in strength until they consumed her whole. Before she knew it, the darkness had her in its claws.
The gate is open. Open.
I wonder if you're able to do that without having to go through the puzzle, if you can just
There
find
is
the
no
right
such
spot.
thing as victory when it comes to the darkness. It's like it doesn't want to kill her. Yet.
Or if it requires you to get rid of the ravens. I'm just curious.
Biding its time.
Like if on an initial playthrough, if you'd be able to just go to that spot and find it.
Will she find Dillian before her time comes?
Is that actually you this time? Nope.
overcome Valravan's final illusion to face him in his keep. I know you can do it, Senua. You have the sight.
We both see the darkness. We can fight it together.
Oh, I actually wanted to go that way. But I guess I can't. Can't go this way either. I wanted to go up there. There we go. Because this should show... tree branch that'll let me walk up there now.
Speak to me, Druth. Tell me a story.
Senua, listen. I will tell you the tale of a man called Findan. The Northmen captured Findan's sister, and his father sent him to pay for her release. But they took his gold, put him in chains, and held him for a day and a night without food or water. Then they released him. I don't know why. Upon his return, his father's enemies in Erin set fire to his home. His father burnt to death, and his brother was killed. But he escaped with sorrow in his heart. His father's enemies offered redress for his loss and invited him to a feast. It was at a hall near the sea. But when he went there, they betrayed him to the Northmen, who enslaved him and took him to hell. 6 years later, his slave masters landed on the shores of Orkney, burning all before them. And into that fire, Findan made his escape. What was Findan burnt away that day. But from the flames, a new man stepped forward, and Druth was born. Druth, the man that I am now. And though Findan never set eyes on his dear sister again, I, Druth, have found you, Senua.
I wish you could have seen my home before these dark times.
Oh.
Broken. The gate is open. Open.
This darkness. I know it from the wilds. It's coming back for me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm still here. Are you too? Where are we? I remember. It didn't end well in the wilds. It never does. You think you can overcome the darkness, make sense of it.
Is something pecking at our back?
Relief settles in. Strikes out now.
I mean, Valravan is kind of bird-like.
The maelstrom. drowning the mind in fear, deeper, deeper, dragging you down so far into the void that maybe this time there is no coming back. But there, in the darkness, and she remembered what he told her.
You see the raven picking on her body? Yeah, I saw it. I didn't realize Senua was a child in this game. She's not.
Iron mirror. Look into it, for it is a window into the underworld. Within, you will see the face of the darkness that you fear. And if you focus, like I have taught you to, you will also see that as much as the darkness has you trapped within its veil, it too is trapped within yours. Focus. Focus! Focus!
I see you. I see you now. You led me to the wilds. You trapped me there.
All right, buddy. Ow.
Don't give up. Where's he going?
Hello. Bitch! Oh, Jesus. I couldn't parry that one, apparently. Well, at least blocking that, I don't take damage from it. Bitch, I'm fucking love parrying.
Don't let them surround you. Don't let them get behind you.
Really, how she handles the sword. Yeah, the animations of this game are incredible. One left.
They've surrounded you. She's not strong enough. She can ignore them.
Give me the bird back.
It's the only way.
Nope, you didn't actually stagger on that. fine.
Hurt, there's blood. You're so
Oh. Oh, that hurt. Fuck. Damn it. I wasn't able to, like, that one hit. Oh, man, do I have to do all of that over again? Shit. That's a lot if I do. We'll see. Man, it killed me so fast. It's unfortunate. I fucked up once, man. I can't, yeah, I get that. Like, that charge, I can't fuck that up. Parrying is so rewarding when you get it down. It's really good, yeah. Game feels good in general. Oh, that was sick. Woohoo! Bitch! Fine.
Find a good position. Don't let them surround you. She'll never finish. It's nearly over. Finish it. He can reach.
Are you using focus? No? Oh. What does this even do? Oh, is it just slow down time? Woo!
End it. End it.
I'll end it in a second. There's 3 of them. Did I mention there's 3 of them?
Finished. There are too many of them. Find a strong position. Focus. Focus now. You can do this.
Oh, I gotta get him out of his shadow form first.
Focus. Focus.
Oh, focus? Oh, okay. I got him out of his shadow form before by just bouncing a blade over to him. By reflecting one of his attacks, but I guess that works too.
She's nearly there. Focus.
Alright, we win.
Never beat you in the wild.
Oh, my nose.
It was an illusion. But not this time.
Well, that was cool as hell. She did Superman punch with a sword. She did.
One of the keys to the gate to Helheim. Hold it in your mind's eye.
With every battle, the darkness grows stronger. Every victory.
I didn't know
bringing her
focus
closer
was a
to
mechanic. I just fighting everything raw.
Unfair, isn't it?
Would this be considered a Souls game? It plays very similarly to one in terms of the way that the dodging and parrying and stuff feels. You also have light and heavy attacks.
Letting go.
There's not a stamina bar that I'm able to see.
If it
There's no UI at all, so.
A chance encounter in the wilds.
Also.
I would have heard his stories of the Northmen. And she would not have this chance to find Dillion's soul.
Hey, Rio, welcome in. We're going insane. Wait, did we not need to do both doors? Wait, where are we? Oh, okay. We're not actually at the bridge door yet. Sorry, this was a little drive-by. I need to head to work. Thanks. Peace out, Vanishar. Take it easy.
When she was younger, she would lay in the grass and stare at the clouds. And then she saw them. Elusive. Shifting faces.
Well, that's one death.
After a while, she could see the faces of the trees.
I don't know how many were actually allowed.
Caves. I wonder, can you see the faces too? They're there. If you look for them.
Mother? Senua, you have the sight. Just like I do. Once you can see into the underworld and all the souls within it will see you. Don't be afraid when they speak to you. I will always be here to guide you.
Did you see her? That was her mother, Galina. She was a priestess.
Her hair must be so heavy.
She taught Senua to see the weave that binds the world together. And it was beautiful. It was a time before the darkness. But when it did come, it first came for her mother. Senua still sees her face from time to time, hidden in the world. Like she's still watching over.
Think her hair qualifies as a helmet at this point? I don't think so, but it definitely would weigh a healthy bit. She has a lot of hair, and it's dreaded. Okay, we can't go to that door yet. Oh, hello. Where the fuck did you come from, bro?
He's down. Finish it. Finish it. Strike. They've surrounded you. Behind us.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Scary. Ow. I don't know what to do with this guy. His shield is very effective. Evade, okay. I'm getting so little damage in on this fool. Come on. I need you to take a little bit more damage, homie. I'm just saying. I am! I just barely get to hit him at all. Come on. You're annoying. There's something I'm missing. Damn, can't do that one. I would love to finish this, but he's still alive. Ow. There we go. Use focus and attack from behind? Oh, right. I didn't even know that was a mechanic until you said something just now about it in the first place. So it's still not even part of my, like, mental thought process of focusing on the enemies.
Surt, the fire giant has answered. He comes from a land older than mankind. And the Northmen call upon his flaming sword to raise their enemies to the ground.
I mean, I've been using it to solve the puzzles and to get the little... Oh, speaking of, did this one reset? Where'd it go? This one. Did this one reset?
The Northmen say...
She found the wretched old fool on her way back from the wilds. An outcast.
There's a kick mechanic?
All over.
Must be a button that I haven't tried yet.
She took pity on him, for he was not long for this world. Like her, who spoke of his own darkness. The Northmen.
And was named Ymir. The ice continued to drip, and the power of the void.
We're on controller. It's B on the controller. So that'd be circle then. Or square for the Xbox. Wait, what? Square for the Xbox controller. 2 bombers, 1 berserker, and 2 flying rogues, either which could be yours for 420 channel points. Most kills going to myself, followed by Juganel. Most assists go to Globot Grayson, followed by Budere. Going random on the scrolls in 5. Just ignore me. Okay. Deal. Going random. Athena with the bombers, Juganel with the berserkers, Fee with the flying rogues. Back to the map. Place units, everybody. All right, let's keep going.
Gave life to it, and it became a car whose milk fed the giant. That's right, a car. But you weren't expecting that.
Okay, I see the kick. Can't block that.
Behind you! It's nearly over. Stop it. Stop. He's gone! Watch out! Sights, watch out! He's stronger than you. Behind you, watch out!
Glad I was trying to get in position already anyway.
She'll die. They're overwhelming. She's going to lose. Behind you.
Ow.
You can do it. You're close. End it.
Okay. If you start to integrate that kick, you can get some pretty good combo going. Not that you haven't already, but it adds another utility move. I mean, I'll find more connectors, essentially. Because there's some that the lights to heavies don't flow into one another. Do I need to find both of them together?
Burning human flesh. And I still hear their cries carried in the wind.
Do I need to find both shapes at the same time, or
Yes.
each shape on its own?
And I still hear them now.
Almost.
Follow the screams.
Okay, I need to find each shape on its own then. Okay. Gotta be something to do with these. I mean, that's not quite it, though. Oh, wait. Can I use that one to be the point on it? Yes. That should have gave me both, right? Yep, okay.
The path to Helheim is sealed to the living, but you already walk amongst the dead. Look towards the gate, and you will see that it has opened. When they first came to my lands, I knew enough of their tongue to beg for mercy, and they took me as a slave. I wish now that they had slaughtered me like the others. I rode their storm of fire, death, slavery to many lands. This darkness you speak of? I know it well.
And I'm still here to fight it.
Time to fight again. Oh, Jesus. I want to take care of this other dude first if I can. But I gotta get over to him. That was cool. Damn it! You weren't supposed to spawn another one. Oh, shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. How do I get up? There we go. See, we're fine. We're fine. We got this. I feel like if I could have figured out that get up mechanic, I would have been able to, I hit the wrong button on that.
He's gone.
Yeah, I still got that shield bro, though. Where is he? I feel like I could have survived that first death against the boss. If I could have figured out how to, get up.
It's nearly over. Finish it.
Oh, that didn't work.
Finish this. End it now. You finished it. Don't let them get behind you.
Fuck. Can I get up again? I just have to tap focus. Is that what it is? Oh, God. What am I doing? Ow. Well, we fucked him up good. fine. We're fine.
When you see a fire gate of Surt, know that only a sacrifice will stoke the fires of Muspel and let the dead walk through. Find the fire, Senua, and follow the path to Surt. You mustn't look away from the horrors it does offer, because you cannot overcome suffering if you refuse to look at it.
What's happening? Where's the fire gone? Where's it gone? The fire's disappeared. Get the fire. Surt is through there.
He's waiting for her. You can't get through. How will she get through?
She'll need to find another way.
Truth, scent.
The Northmen tell this story.
We missed
Before
one.
the Earth was created, there was a world called Muspel. Because it was in the south, it was bright and hot, flaming, burning. Sparks that flew out from Muspel became the star. Other sparks melted ice in the frozen world of Niflheim, creating the body of the first giant Ymir. Muspel.
It's too far.
She'll never find it. She'll never make her way back.
She needs to remember to go back.
Why didn't she find
Oh!
it? And then
Everything will burn.
Concentrate on where you're going. She needs to remember the path.
Everything will burn, then how will she find the way back?
She won't. She won't be able to tell.
The Northmen say that the defender of Muspel is called Surt,
Thank you, Cerulean.
the foremost of the fire giants. His name means the Black One, because he is like something burnt. The Northmen believe that he sits at the border of Muspel with his flaming sword, and at the end of the world he will leave his post. He will travel to Asgard and Midgard, waging war against all the gods. He will be victorious. The Northmen made fire sacrifices, burning slaves like me to reveal the path to Surt. I searched for meaning in their suffering, in their eyes, but they just screamed like helpless pigs.
Alright. Set the world on fire. Again, the animation work in this is insane.
Do your gods answer your prayers, Senua? I asked the gods for mercy, all of them, even theirs. None answered. In the end, I set myself free.
By the way, again, I will ask this question. Is Druth full motion video? Is that an actual actor that's been recorded?
Abandoned me.
I am alone.
You don't think so? You think it's a model? It kind of looks like it's just like somebody that's been filmed and then they put a filter on it.
They call it Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. Asgard will be attacked by Surt and the fire giants. A monstrous wolf will swallow the sun.
I mean,
The
that
gods will
said, the
fight
game
in
looks
vain against their
fantastic, so.
enemies. There is nothing they can do to prevent it. Hope will find a way. The Northmen of Hell worship the Devourers, insatiable gods of darkness. I come from Erin, Senua, where I once followed my own gods, the Tuatha De Danann.
Why did you abandon your gods?
Senua, I was a man of knowledge, not a warrior. To survive, I did things. Bad things. Like you, Senua. The man I once was has died. And when that happens, even the gods you worship can die with you.
Well, I'm close, but I don't see it quite yet. Do I need to get closer? Ah. Look, guys, it's God of War. Although this is actually a much nicer house than Kratos lived in God of War. You set my world on fire. It's gonna make us go this way? Okay. Nope, don't fall. Oh, okay. My vision is great right now.
You say your world has collapsed. Good. Let it collapse, and have the courage to shed your tears. Raise your world to the pride.
My world is dead.
Only then, as as with a newborn.
Yeah, I still think Druth is FMV.
No.
Just looking at his lips makes me think that he's FMV. I mean, if it is motion capture, it's really fucking good motion capture. TPD, huh?
Tell me truth. How did you escape your darkness?
Senua, once I found my purpose, I was no longer enslaved to the suffering I had to endure to reach it. Unclouded by fear, I could see it clearly in others. Even my captors feared the fire of Surt. And so, during one raid, I took my chance and ran, knowing that they would not follow. The fool ran into the fire. They left me for dead. Maybe they were right to. But here I am. Free.
I'm glad I found you in the wilds. I wouldn't have made it without you.
There it is. You can make a P there too if you did it right.
The Northmen say that at Ragnarok, the sons of Muspel will travel to battle in the ship called Naglfar, the corpse ship. And when the sons of Muspel leave the ship and ride to battle, it will be as though the sky had split open, and Surt will lead them. Wherever he goes, flame will erupt before him, and fires will burn behind him.
Senua, if I can survive the fire of Surt and escape my darkness, then so can you.
Run, Senua! Run! Through the fire! Keep running! Go on! Nothing will stop you! Run, Senua! Run! 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 Run, Senua! Through the fire!
It's only mildly traumatizing.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This darkness takes everything. Everyone.
Senua, are you sure you want to do this? We can fight this together, side by side. We always do.
This is my battle. I have to face it alone, away from here.
Where will you go?
I don't know.
For how long?
I don't know.
Hang on a second.
I believe in you. You know that. Just promise me that you will come back to me. I want you to say it. I want you to say it.
I will come back to you. I promise.
Come on.
Spill the blood of Circe and take his mark, and I will cheat you from memory and forever.
Woo, boy. You scary.
You destroyed everything, everyone, but not me. Fight me now.
He's big. He's real big.
Stop him! He's getting stronger! Stop him right now!
Oh, God.
They're winning. Circe is getting stronger. Stop him now. Must stop him. Defend yourself. See past
He was way easier. Can now confirm Druth is live film. Okay. I was very confident that he was. He was way easier than the Raven? Yeah, than the Raven.
For every battle won, a greater battle takes its place. And so it goes. Until we fall. And in the end, we all fall. Even the gods have their time. Yet we still go on. Why?
I made a promise, and I will go to hell to keep
I
it.
die free, knowing you will carry my stories with you. I have full
darkness comes, I vow to guide you in this life and the next to fulfill yours.
Then I will see you in hell.
Be ready to face horror in the eye, as I have, to find your answers, your quest.
Whee-yaw! Okay, so we're going to run this battle. This is actually going to impromptu be the last battle, and we're going to get up to the door. We probably have to fight again at the door before we're allowed to open it, but then I'll save the opening the door for the next stream. But we'll get back to the door and fight what's ever there. Man, I really love the combat in this game a lot, though. The combat feels really good. Yeah! 200 gold, which can be used for 1,669 channel points. 1 monk can be used for 420 channel points. Most kills go into Horse Doorbot. Most assists to Globot Grayson. Going random on the scroll and the gold in 5. Actually, we'll go random as soon as I go potty. I'll be right back. Whew, that was good. Athena with the gold, Alexis Machine with the monk. Combat also looks really nice for a viewer. It's visually stunning. The animations in general in this game are really, really good. The animations, like even just Senua's walking animation here is so good. And the way that if you're moving quickly, they give extra animations for like this little sidestep thing, or even backwards. Like the animation work is so impressive. Like, of course, some of the combat stuff is a little flashy, like the weird, like the spinning slice and stuff, but it's still just visually stunning on the animations. I mean, the game in general is visually stunning. I mean, look at Senua. She looks like a person. You can really notice in the skin textures. The lips are still not perfect, but I don't know if I've seen a game that actually has genuinely good lip animations for when people are talking, just because there's so much small movement when you're in your mouth and in your lips when you're talking, that I feel like that's something that's still just really, really, really hard. But everything else about the game is visually incredible. The combat is awesome. The general tone of it is like I said, described earlier, it gives me anxiety. And the way that I described it earlier was that it feels like something is grabbing my spine and climbing my spine like a rope, and I don't like it, but it does a good job.
Until she too could see what he saw.
Combat feels really good. There's an incredible cinematic look to it. It does. Every character is fully motion captured. Most games now, the characters are all fully motion captured. Like, in most games that have even a smidgen of a budget, they do motion capture for a lot of the characters' animations. Or at least they do a motion capture as the start of the animations. And then they'll tweak them from there.
Have you ever died before? It's a serious question. When the illusion of self is shattered, you simply cease to be.
My stomach feels unhappy.
Seem that way to others.
Probably too much coffee and not enough food.
You can feel it.
It's alright, we're almost done.
A stranger in your own body. An imposter. And nothing is the same ever again. Senua has died before. And she will do so again. You can be sure
With the mark of Valravan and the mark of Surt, you may cross the bridge over the River of Knives to Helheim.
No baddies? Okay. In which case, then... Oh, yeah. I was expecting to get fight at the door, but... If you want one where the lip animations look realistic, Uncharted 4 is way up there, but I'd recommend at least playing through the first two before it. In my infinite free time, yes, in my infinite free time. It's never ending, really. It just goes on forever. There's always more of it to be had and enjoyed, right? Of course. That doesn't include all the other stuff that I want to play. Damn it, I do want to play through the Uncharted series at some point, but again, as just mentioned, in all of my free time, that's something that we can put on the to-do list. Oh, Lord. But, yeah, because I do want to play through... We have Metal Gear Solid 3 coming up. We have whatever ends up winning the vote. It's still currently looking like Parasite Eve is going to be the winner there. We got that coming up. We have a gameplay request to play through Bayonetta 3 when that releases, so that's locked in for October. Forspoken got moved to January, and that's on my list. I don't know if I'll play it on stream, but I definitely want to play Harvestella. I'm currently playing through Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in my spare time, as well as Disco Elysium in my spare time, and playing Escape from Tarkov with friends in the time when we're not on stream. And then we got Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coming out at the end of the month. Live Alive Remake is coming out at the end of the month. Actually, that comes out in 5 days. And then I've not looked at the new Star Ocean. It's one of the reacts that what I want to do is to look at all the new Star Ocean stuff. So we'll see what that looks like. I do have a couple of older games that I want to play through again, such as Xenosaga and Skies of Arcadia. What are my thoughts on Disco Elysium so far? I haven't gotten very far in it. I'm maybe only like... Well, the game's not very long. It's only like 12 hours long, and I'm like 2 or 3 hours into it, so I'm like 25% of the way through. I'm playing the final cut, so I got all the voice acting and stuff like that. I really... It's a very interesting experience. It's very unique, and there aren't many things like it. I do wish it had a little bit more in terms of just like general options of what to do when you're moving around the world, but it's cool so far. It's cool so far. I'm curious to see how combat actually works, because I know at some point you do get into at least a fight or two. I am curious also how much the game would change based on your starting decisions, because like I think it's like the intellect tree or something that I'm like really deep into, and I'm just not sure what the narrative in terms of like the the demons in your brain, essentially, how that would go if I had made different decisions of who I am, essentially. So, Zamudi just said goodbye on Cold Read, which is great. So, everybody, these are my socials. Please follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, go sub to the YouTube. As I mentioned, we're holding a vote right now in Discord about what we're going to do for our full gameplay stream. Your options are Dino Crisis, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Parasite Eve, or the first Spyro the Dragon game. That will be happening in 1 week from today, and we'll be playing through all the way through whatever that game ends up being. Now, with that said, we are going to go raid one Zamudi. This is the raid message. And if you are not a subscriber, you can unlock that raid emote for 100 channel points. I will be back live on Tuesday. We'll be doing some more reactions, and then we'll play through some more of Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade is a short game, so we should be finished with it on Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll be playing some more AI the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative. And then on Sunday will be whatever game wins. And then I don't know what's going to happen after that. And then we'll be taking a short hiatus to go spend some time with some family here in the beginning of August. But that said, I'm going to hit this. We're going to let the credits roll. I will thank all of you very much, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for being here, and have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.